Taylor McGregor is great. She's joining us from ESPN. She's going to be on the sideline. Arkansas alum, and she'll be calling this game, part of the crew on Saturday morning for Notre Dame and Arkansas. This historic matchup, Chuck. The first time they've ever met. And it'll be in Fayetteville. You'll get to see those golden domes in Razorback Stadium. Taylor, welcome in. Good morning. Hope you're well.
Good morning, guys. I'm happy to be back on with you.
We're excited to have you back. And I know you talked to the teams leading up to the game. I don't know how much you've done of that yet this week, but I'm just curious if you have a sense how each team is sort of feeling coming into this game because of the seasons they've had so far.
Yeah, so we talked to the teams on Friday, haven't yet. I did talk to Jeremiah Love of Notre Dame. So, I think Notre Dame understands that they're sort of playing every game as if it's an elimination game now. Like, they have no room for error in order to make the college football playoff. So I think they're fired up. They're excited to come down here. The reality is everybody outside of the SEC always wants to beat SEC teams. So I think even Notre Dame, they want to come to Fayetteville and they want to get a win in the SEC. That's just a huge thing that those guys talk about. So I think they're really fired up. And then listening to the press conferences of guys on the Arkansas side, I think they feel like they have a real shot to win this game too. And I'm excited to see the way that they respond after the loss at Memphis.
What is it about Notre Dame that has them in the position they are with a couple of losses already?
It's interesting. I just think you have to, for me, let's go back to last year, okay? So you have or very close one possession loss. Okay, I think those should be in a sense rewarded for playing playing good games on your schedule, traveling to Miami, and then if they run the table, like to me, I actually would argue that they probably have a better resume than a year ago when they lost to Northern Illinois. Like those two close losses, for me, are better than the one loss to Northern Illinois. It just is. At home. Let's not forget. So I think if they run the table, for me, there's a real chance they get into the CFP, assuming it plays out the way that it did last year, where you're talking about, 3-loss SEC teams. Now, all of this changes if there are in the Big Ten and the SEC who run the table and don't end up winning the conference, but then, still get the at-large bid. So some of it is still play, but I do think with Notre Dame, I think they have a chance to do that. Now, probably some of it is a little bit of a bias coming in from last year. They went to the national championship, and I think people expected their defense specifically to play much better than they have. Their offense has been amazing. They have an amazing offense, but their defense certainly has not lived up to what everybody expected. They're, I think, 104th in total yards allowed, not where you expect them to be. So, that's kind of my synopsis of Notre Dame. I do think they still have a chance to CFP, and I do think this is sort of an elimination game for them, as it will be for the rest of the season.
You mentioned you'll talk to them on Friday, but I do kind of wonder what Notre Dame's thought is on getting well defensively, because they're not the same defensive team they were a year ago. They had a playoff defense last year, and they do not right now. I just wonder what the vibe is around their program, if they feel like they've legitimately got a chance to get better on defense, or if they just need to plan on scoring 30 points a game.
They believe they could be better in zone coverage. They've been really good in man, and then there's just been a breakdown in zone. And obviously you can't just commit to man and allow the opposing offense to just know that's where you're going to be. So I do think there's some things that they believe they can shore up in zone coverage that would allow them to be better. But it's certainly been disappointing, the start that they've had, considering the defense they were a year ago. And then also, look, I know we say this a lot, but you want your team to be good at the background of your head coach, and Marcus Freeman is a defensive guy, and you expect them to be good on defense. So I do think there's from him, and I'm friends with a lot of Notre Dame people here living in Chicago, and a lot of people are wondering would he go back to taking over the play call if it got bad? And is that a way to get better? Who knows? I think a lot of things are on the table when it comes to what they're up against this season.
Taylor, when you look at the big picture in college football right now, I mean, we've seen Gundy fired already. We've seen other coaches fired already. Here, I'm sure you know what the conversation is right now regarding the coach. People at Notre Dame are ready to dump Chris Ash on the defensive side. I mean, we're like a third of the way through the season. It kind of makes me wonder what the back half, and we're not even to the back half, the back 2/3, what it's going to look like, because there are already teams that are throwing in the towel, and there are already teams that are planning for the playoff, and it's we're a long way from both of those things.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that is one of the downsides of the CFP, I will say, because it does feel like at points in the season, if you're not playing and competing for a college football playoff, what's the point of the season? And that's not good for the sport, and I don't like that. I also think some of the firings, like with the transfer portal, I think it even adds to the pressure of you have to win now, because you've been able to see new coaches come into programs and flip it really quickly with the transfer portal. So I just think it's created more pressure, and yeah, it's an interesting mix between teams that are good, teams that are bad, and just college football as a whole. And this is what happens when there's a lot of money, a lot of pride involved. Things go quick, and we've certainly seen that play out.
Taylor, what is your take on Arkansas? Taylor McGregor, ESPN, Arkansas alum, will be on the sideline Saturday. They're really 2 fumbles away from being 4-0 potentially, and yet they are close losses again, and you've lost at Memphis, and you really are 2-2. And, the people that want to change have every reason to be loud right now. Big game for them, but what do you make of where Arkansas is?
I know, it's hard. I think with Arkansas, I mean, the one loss or the one score losses, I'm sure you guys did, and I know you can't always read everything on the good old X machine, but it can be painful to be an Arkansas fan at times, and part of that you have to be thankful for, I think, because it's not like we're sitting here talking about blowout losses and Arkansas never has a chance. Arkansas always has a chance, in my opinion. And look, they're hosting a really good Notre Dame team. And last time I checked, the line is 3.5. So even Vegas thinks this is going to be a good game. And so I think it's weird because that's what you want. You want your team to be competitive. You want your team to have a chance to win. Obviously, over the course of time, you would hope and you want those one-score losses to eventually go into your favor, and you do want to be able to stack up 10-win seasons and have more sustained success. I totally get it, but it's hard to figure out what's going on because they're competitive. They're in these games. They just can't seem to win. I'm looking at third downs. They're 114th in third down defense, but they're 84th in total yards. They're way worse on third down than they are in maybe total defense, and that's a little thing that you would hope could get corrected. I don't know, man. Arkansas's hard. It's weird how they keep losing these one-score games. I wish I had an answer for you, but
yeah, no, I guess we know.
For me, it's kind of well, let's hope for a good game this weekend, and I think Arkansas has a real chance to win, and maybe that could change some of the narrative around Fayetteville.
I don't know if the average fan really cares about what I'm going to ask you, but I do, so I'm going to ask you. In your career and going through school and being a fan, and in today's world, whether you get to watch the Arkansas game, call the game, or find out what the score is, I know in your heart you still want them to win and you're a fan, but you're a professional and you have your job to do. But in your career, how much has your perspective changed on how you view your own opinions because of all the players and coaches that you spend time talking to?
Oh, it's changed tremendously, yeah. Tremendously. And I think the biggest thing is you don't know what you don't know. And so I understand fans at home who get these red hot takes and they believe they're right because they don't know what they don't know. And the reality with my job is I'm more privy to information than people at home are. And so oftentimes I'm able to understand and know why something is happening. And there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stories and things unfolding that just the normal fan doesn't know. So I think it just gives me a better perspective, and I really just say it gives me more information to make an opinion. So it's allowed my perspective to change tremendously for sure.
Well, here we go. A historic game Saturday in Razorback Stadium, and I guess pretty cool for you that you get to be a part of it.
I know. I'm excited. I remember when this game was announced. So I remember thinking, like, oh, I can't wait to go to that game. And
little did you know.
Yeah, little did I know I'd be working it. Yeah. So what a blessing. I'm super fired up. My first game back in Fayetteville. I've never done a game in Fayetteville.
Is that right?
I've only ever had the Hogs on the road. So I'm super excited.
Oh, that's great. Well, we'll see you at the game, Taylor. Thanks for hopping on with us every time you do. We appreciate it. We know how busy you are, and best of luck. Safe travels to you.
Thank you, Taylor.
Of course. Awesome to be on with you guys.
Thank you, Taylor. Talk soon. Taylor McGregor,